I joined the Coast Guard Auxiliary because I wanted to learn how to boat, and I thought learning about safety was the most important aspect. So I took the boating skills and seamanship course and the advanced coastal navigation course, and then I joined the auxiliary because I realized through those classes what a powerful organization the auxiliary is and all the great things you can learn by being a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Well, we have been helping the Coast Guard for almost 75 years now, and we provide quite a bit of service for those folks.
They do a lot of boating classes. They are actually the ones that are out in the public a lot more than we are, because we really have to stay on our boats, have to stay on our helicopters. I really just can't go down and start talking to a group of bystanders on the beach, but that's where the auxiliary comes in, and they can kind of put more of a face to the operation. So they're really like the first line in our public relations programs.
Well, I grew up on Lake Hickory in North Carolina with a summer home there, and have been around the water since I was 10 years old and have done a lot, enjoyed it. And this is a way to me to give back to the boating public for what my enjoyment has been, to help them with safety.
I was inspired, but not by chance, by fate. I was inspired by, I was a cancer survivor 12 years ago. So I said if my illness was going to be terminal, then I always want to learn how to drive a boat. And as I joined the auxiliary, the doors opened up with many different opportunities, and that brought me here today.
What keeps me passionate about the Coast Guard Auxiliary is our ability in the RBS program, or Recreational Boating Safety Program, to bring to the recreational boater the information to have a fun and safe time on the water.
The Coast Guard doesn't do recreational boating safety. They don't have the time, the effort, and resources. That's what we do. In our district alone, we average around 500,000 volunteer hours a year. That's a great force multiplier for them. It's a great return on investment. So, with their resources, we help them directly and indirectly. Having more members involved, we can do more.
We're here at Black Hills Regional Park in the heart of Montgomery County. We've asked the Coast Guard Auxiliary to come here today to inspect our boats, to make sure that our boats are fully equipped in case of emergencies for the fishing season. Our safety officer made the connection with someone in the auxiliary and suggested to the club that we do a safety check before the fishing season starts. We fish a lot. We fish in all different weather. We don't pick our weather. We pick our day. So we want to make sure that all of our boaters are safe. We also bring people along with us, guests and other fishermen in the club who don't own boats, and we want to make sure that we're all having a good, fun, safe day.
About 4 years ago, I discovered boating. I had never been on the water before, and the Chesapeake is a perfect place to boat. And I discovered sailing. So I took sailing classes, or actually just public education classes that were taught by the auxiliary. And there was such camaraderie there in the class. The guys talked me into joining and told me that if I joined, besides being able to volunteer, I would also be able to attend these classes for free. And plus, have the opportunity to hang around with them all the time. So anyway, that's how I got involved in the auxiliary.
They're checking that we have life jackets and that they're serviceable. They're making sure that we have the proper sound and sight devices to call attention to ourselves when we're in distress. Making sure that if we need it, we'll have gasoline fume exhaust systems, communication systems, and lights. Really the most important thing is if we ever have a problem, that we have the equipment we need to address, a crisis.
With the auxiliary, whether it was a surface flotilla or the air auxiliary, they're always available, always flexible, and always willing to give us the help we need to get our mission accomplished, which really is a grander our mission. It's the entire Coast Guard mission.
It's a fantastic working relationship. It is a fantastic group of people. They're made up of doctors, lawyers, engineers, CEOs of major aviation corporations, companies throughout the tri-state area, as well as the South. And they are very excited, very ambitious to conduct training, law enforcement, and support the air station in our day-to-day operations.
They help us train very effective logisticians, getting parts and people to places that are otherwise challenging for us to get to. Most recently, we sent an aircraft down to Patuxent River for testing, and the Aerox folks came right in immediately and helped us get personnel down there. It would have been cost prohibitive with regard to just commercial travel, so they really helped us out there.
In 2012, we had Hurricane Sandy, or Superstorm Sandy, devastate the New Jersey coast. While we were poised and ready here for search and rescue, that was our main focus. The Coast Guard Auxiliary came in and were able to transport VIPs, provide eyes on scene for that long period of time, duration of time, over top of intercoastal waterways, buoy searches, looking for any persons in the water, debris in the water, and relay all that back to the Search and Rescue Coordination Center, or the SAR controller, in order for us to utilize our helicopters for actual pulling people off rooftops, pulling them out of the water, any type of low over-the-water operations.
A lot of times when you get a search and rescue case, you're really just getting fragments of information. So it would be like someone found a life jacket just floating in the middle of the bay, or they found a surfboard with no surfer. And so a lot of times you're really just trying to close a loop on, where did that piece of equipment come from, and is there someone in trouble that lost that piece of equipment?
Without them, I believe that we would have an increase of search and rescue cases and potential fatalities without their support.
Every year at the sector and our subsequent stations and aids and navigation teams, personnel transfer out. So at every year we can lose about 1/4 of our workforce, which sounds like a big number, and it is. But that keeps everything fresh, that keeps everybody able to move, upward mobility. Where the auxiliaries come in is they really help out with our area familiarization. So they've been there, they've been in these waters for years, all their life probably. So they're able to come in and then help out our station personnel, our folks that are crews that we send out on their boats to get a look at the area, to help them. They know exactly where this cove is, where people like to tie up on the weekends, where people, all the interactions with the boating community.
Well, community is it's a big part of what we do, because we're essentially a public servant. And so the closer we can work with the public and the better relationship we have, the easier it is for us to get information to them as far as approaching storms or new regulations coming out, and the easier it is for them to get information to us as far as the conditions that are out there. If we're out looking for someone, a lot of times the fishermen will help out as well, and they'll say, I think I saw a boat, a half hour ago heading in this direction. So, just having that relationship is really helpful, and it kind of helps to have the auxiliarist out there, because it could be their next door neighbor that we're talking to, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I know the auxiliary because my neighbor is always out there doing that kind of stuff, so I'm glad to help.
They provide on-scene cover for us. Hey, they're here, this position, get here, get quick. I've already established communications with them. There's 4 people total. They need medical assistance. That way there we can prosecute our search and rescue mission even faster with them. There's no search really. It's a rescue operation. They take the search out of a rescue operation for us.
I feel a sense of pride. I feel a sense of giving back to my country. I've never had a chance to go into the military, and this is my chance as a military person. Also, it gives me a good personal inspiration and feeling as a member of Coast Guard Auxiliary.
When I got out of the Army to go back to college, I swore I'd never put another uniform on as long as I lived. I made it 34 years, but I'm proud to be a part of the auxiliary, to wear the uniform neatly and correctly, and nothing gives me better pleasure at an auxiliary meeting to see people in uniform, dressed properly, and living up to the standards of the Coast Guard.
When I put my uniform on, I feel like I'm a part of an organization that's really powerful. The Coast Guard Auxiliary touches so many lives.
And this was a great way to give back to my community. We run a lot of public affairs events. We do a lot of safety events. And from my perspective, it's doing it while I'm on the water, so what else can you ask for?
These volunteers, they're a great asset for us. They always want to get out on their boat, they always want to get out and fly, and they always want to help us out. So it's really easy, just a phone call away. And then the logistics, just, you know, where do I need to be at what airport?
We're probably around 30,000 strong now. I know one of the main goals in National was to get the numbers up to around 40,000, so where we almost match the active side.
Wherever there's a Coast Guard involvement, there's a Coast Guard auxiliary involvement. And to me, that their single greatest achievement is the fact that they are connected to us and they're such a vital part of our organization. I think that's what makes them as special as what they are.
And if we save one life, inspire one boater to be safe on the water, then we've done our job.
Without the silver side, I don't believe that the Coast Guard could effectively accomplish a mission as well as we do.
In terms of what the auxiliary can provide us, it'd be a challenge to ask them to do more than what they're doing right now. I think remaining focused on our principles of safety and stewardship is probably all we can ask of them right now, and to continue to exhibit that level of flexibility and professionalism that they have for the past 75 years. We need them to keep up the good work. That's really what it comes down to.
I would say that any time that someone's rescued wearing a life vest, whether it's rescued by the Coast Guard or one of the other agencies, it's because the Coast Guard Auxiliary was the ones that trained them how to wear that life vest. And anytime they had to pop a flare or put out a fire, it's because the auxiliary was able to train them how to do that.
Happy 75th anniversary for the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Happy 75th anniversary, Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Happy 75th anniversary to the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Happy 75th anniversary to the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Happy 75th anniversary to the Coast Guard Auxiliary.